Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. I am the Bass Negus, Negus, right? So, let's go and get started here. So pretty much, let me switch it over. Well, it's already switched over. Okay, good. If you're on TikTok and you want a better view, you can head over to YouTube, find me on there, and we're live streaming on there as well. But we have good old pedal board here. So this is actually my full pedal board at the moment. I had it broken down into 3 different pedal boards, but decided that it would be a little bit better just to have it, you know, like this. So let's get it popping. Trying to make sure we on. Somebody let me know if y'all hearing me good. Everything going good. Trying to make sure I'm not frozen or nothing. I definitely appreciate y'all chiming in. Hit that like button real quick if you haven't already. Okay. All right. So now we all good to go here. Let's get this off. All right, bet. Bring this chat up so I can see y'all. Hit that like and them reactions. Hit that hype button for me, for real. That's what I need y'all to do. Hit that hype button real quick. That would help me out a lot. Hit that hype button, please. All right, so we're going to start with this pedal board. And this is my full solo setup that I use. Only thing that's not up here is down here on the floor is a Digitech Jamman Solo HD and one expression pedal for the Hog 2, a sustain pedal for the MXR layers, and only other things I use that's not here. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me know everything's running well. All right, cool. So the only thing you can't see here as well is my MIDI setup. I don't have any of my MIDI presets and stuff set up yet. Oh, well, I have it set up, but not in this setup, pretty much. So we're going to start here. This is a T-Tone 3-way effects loop, right? So it's 3 different effects loops. These are $40 on Amazon. They work extremely well. As a matter of fact, while we're talking about it, I will go ahead and put a link to it in the chat. But these are $40. They work great. And what they allow you to do is essentially have 3 effects loops. And what that is good for, when you have a lot of pedals like this, a big pedal board, besides the power supply, which I'll talk about later, one of the next best things is to have a effects loop switcher. And it could be MIDI programmable. Like Morningstar makes one that's good. I'm actually might get one of the Morningstar MIDI effects loops. But this actually allows you to bring in and out sections of the pedal board. So first loop, I have see which order I have it in, I can't remember. But I believe it's Hog 2 into C4 synth and then into the Spectrum. And this will probably change, but it's just how I have it right now. Like, I don't know how much longer these two are going to last right here. But I might actually put the Spectrum in place of the MXR layers for certain bass gigs, things like that. But, things change. So for now, first loop, I run my bass directly in here. That's the first thing. So bass comes in here, effects loop out, these 3 pedals. Second loop is the Mel 9, Key 9, Ravis sitar, and the V256 vocoder. And that's my little synth line. So let's go back real quick so we can hear a few sounds from each little section here. Turn all this off. And the beautiful thing about the Hog 2 is it's a multi-effects pedal as well. It has octave bends, so that same thing I can do. pitch octave, step. Something like this I actually like to use so you can use it for a lot of different stuff. Freeze. And it is polyphonic. So you can play chords. Let me see what we got here. Let me pull up this real quick. I have. Thanks, I appreciate that. Appreciate all the comments. So, you know, the Hog 2 is amazing for a lot of different reasons, of course. Then you got the little so it works great for different synth stuff, all types of stuff. And then you got the C4 synth. Ooh, that's loud. All right, let me get this link for y'all real quick. Bam. Put this in the chat for y'all. No, I haven't heard of Hotcakes pedal, but I don't even know. Can y'all even get to that? I don't think y'all can even click on that. Y'all have to let me know if y'all can actually click on that or not. And I'll see what I can do about getting that to y'all in the comments section or something. But, all right, cool. C4 Synth, Spectrum. So that's one setting. So that was a 6-pole low pass. It's a full pole. Overdrive. Big Crusher. So, you know, the Spectrum is, even though, yes, it doesn't have all the features of the C4 synth, but to be honest, like the filter section is the main part. I mean, if you're gonna, now I would say I have these two. I will be transparent. I bought all my gear, but I bought these two in particular because for to review, and ended up keeping them because I liked them for their individual reasons, and I kept them both because that way, if I wanted to do something like just run, have a few presets where I just run different synth waveforms from the C4 synth or other pedals like the Future Impact, and then this will be able to be the filter section, and it could be after like other effects because the C4 synth doesn't have a effects loop. So if I just use the waveforms like a saw wave, you know, the triangle or sine wave, things like that from the C4 synth, I can then have the Spectrum somewhere else. I mean, it's not like that in this current configuration, but have the the Spectrum somewhere else after other effects I may want to use before I run it into the filter. You know, that way I don't have to just go all the time straight synth into filter. I can go synth into chorus and then into filter. I can go synth into different overdrives and then into, you know, and not that you can't do it in here, but it's a little easier when you can separate it and then you can add in other filters and other drives in between things. It's just, it gives you more flexibility overall. So, well, that I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that. That's do a source audio going to be the leader of the pedal world. I mean, I can't say yes or no. I don't. You know, I can't predict the future, but they're already making multi-effects units as it is. This is a multi-effects unit, the C4 synth and the Spectrum. They, you know, the Spectrum is an octaver, overdrives and distortions, bit crusher, filter. It also still has LFOs and stuff like that in there. While the C4 synth has a harmonizer, synths, overdrives, distortions, phasers, and all that other stuff. They have, you know, all the same filters and overdrives are in both of these pedals. So, you know, and it's a lot of them, but it's already a, I know you can do that on the Atlas compressor, like the Source Audio Atlas compressor, which I have at the end of the chain there. You can do that there, but I'm not sure if the C4 synth is incredible enough where it might be flexible enough where you know, that it's stereo in and out. So maybe the second input and output can be used as a thing, you know. What is the swell tracking that I'm not really sure. It may be getting lost in translation there or something. But the artifact is all of them are multi effects. You know, even the Atlas compressor has an EQ, and you know, all you need is 2 effects to be a multi effects technically. So multi just means more than one. You know. But, yeah, and you can use it as an overdrive pedal, the Source at the Atlas compressor. But let's continue. Second loop, you know, we got the Key 9, Mel 9, Rav Sitar V256. Let's take these one at a time. Yes, the Hog can do everything the Pog can do plus a little bit more. And you know, the Hog 2 and the Pog 2, well, the Hog 3 has some, all they did with the Pog 3 was add some of the features from the Hog 2 and then make it like digital saving and all that extra stuff in there. But this actually is the same as their new pedal that just came out, the decay and swell pedal. This does that decay and swell on the envelope, the Hog 2, and also does filters and wah-wah and freeze glissando and freeze volume. So I'm you know, check it out. Check it out. But on the Key 9, there's a ton of stuff that sounds really good as well. Matter of fact, I want to move through this a little quicker. I don't want you guys to not get it all in one video. I did promise somebody I would do it all in one video. You know, I can't answer all your questions that's not on topic. So if you got questions, try to keep them on topic of a pedal board. But all right. So here we go. Mel 9. We have, you know, some beautiful choir sounds in there. Perfect tracking. And I think you envelope swell tracking. I don't know what that is, but it's actually just slowing the attack of the sound. That's all they're doing is fading in the sound. So some the same thing is on the Zoom pedals and other pedals. So you can fade in. It's just a volume fade in. But yeah, it does it in the envelope section. And Ravish Sit Talk. Well, you got the string sounds and my other favorite, the flute sound. Y'all make sure y'all hit that hype button. Hit that hype button. I want to see what it do. Let me see how many times y'all can hit that hype button and these reaction buttons for me. It would greatly help me out a lot. And the like button, and make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff, and check out the Patreon. But all right, we got string sounds. And so, something I like to do is use the glissando mode with these pedals as well. And it gives me a nice, on the Hog 2. Gives me a little. All that is a shimmer reverb with the Hog 2, Key 9, and Mel 9. You know what I'm saying? So that gives you options there. You know what I'm saying? As well as you can just simply. That's that swell you was talking about, And it also can make them short. And it can even have two different envelopes so from here, from 1 octave up on down to 2 octaves down, this envelope slider is on, and then from an octave and a fifth up to the 4 octaves, this slider controls them. So you can have 2 different envelopes running on Hog 2 as well. So another little pedalboard tip. All right, and you got things like the. So yeah, the Rabbit Sitar is an amazing pedal. As well, you can do so much with some pedals. You know what I'm saying? And I have a lot of this stuff. Normally, I would have a few pedals before these, but I had to make a choice. Like I was like, I could either move. I had this board and a smaller board. I could have. I wanted to pretty much be able to take the majority of my sounds with me, but on a medium-sized board. Now I can't. These are all my specialty sounds for my solo gig. So my solo gig, yeah, I'll take two boards, and for my gigs as an artist, I'll take my two boards. But for a regular gig, I can't do more than this one board here. So, it gives me this one gives me all the options I would need immediately on every single gig, no matter what, really. But this, if I really want to give them the show, you know what I'm saying? You got to give them the show sometimes. Take them cabs out the house. You know what I'm saying? Pull out the 410 cab on them, huh? All right. Let's see here. Testing the microphone. Testing the microphone. So if you want to get a clearer tone, I suggest using middle distortion. Oh no. Testing. Testing the microphone. So this is useful for a lot of things. You can change your voice. You can change your testing. You can change your voice to different ones. You can change your voice to different ones. Different ones, yeah. Testing the mic. Testing the microphone. Testing the microphone. And it's polyphonic, it tracks perfectly. It tracks perfectly. It tracks so well. It tracks so well. I love this vocoder. Plus, you can do stuff like
This, where you just completely change your voice. And all this is still on your pedal board and accessible during live shows. So, testing.
testing. You can also do stuff like
This, where you just change your voice and it's normal.
You can just talk. You can add all these sound effects on your pedal board.
and now all you gotta do is use them. That's why TC Electronic definitely love this pedal. I can even do it like this and use it for live auto tune, but for my real voice, using my bass. Using my bass. Precious wings. Precious wings. Light your way, light your way. Ooh. So now you can just sing like your normal voice and not the robot voice. I can't sing like this. Then you got the just straight up auto tune. Testing the. You can hear it pulling the pitch. When see, even when I try to go out of tune, it tries to pick between the two. You know, in the actual scale, you can change the scale that it's working from. Times. I love this thing. It's just so much fun.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This may be one of the most fun pedals on my board.
But I ain't gonna do that all night. I don't want to get on y'all nerves. But yeah, as you can see, the V256 vocoder is the best vocoder pedal ever. period. It's not even close. I don't care what nobody talking about. It's not even close. And you got a freeze function on here too. So say you want to sing and you want that what you're playing to hold. You want that to hold, and then you can play over top of it or do whatever. You can freeze that joint. I like my little favorite little pedalboard tip is I like to use the Hog 2, freeze a chord there, or play a chord with the Hog 2, and then freeze it here on a V256, and then do the external extra harmonies above that with the Hog 2, and then I can freeze that, and then I can play over this massive chord. I'm not going to give y'all all that today, but yeah, it's very well possible. And all right, so then from there we have the Zoom MS-50G, the original OG one. I'll probably upgrade to the newer one, just like I've done with the MS-60B Plus and the MS-70 CDR Plus. But for now, I'm using the OG, and I keep that here because, of course, these older units used to affect your sound, your tone a lot more. The newer ones are way better when they're bypassed. They don't disturb your tone as much. So it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't already, because they're awesome. And when I say they're awesome, I mean extremely good. So I use it for stuff like that, pretty much. Just guitar type sounds, get you those nice guitar type amps and stuff like that. Yeah, I got a list of pedals myself. And nah, you ain't gonna find this in no basement. In nobody else's basement, actually. This is the only one. This is the only bass like this in the world. made one of one, luckily, with the patent and everything. So, yep. Artisan Bass Works was the company that made this bass, and unfortunately, they aren't with us anymore. Unfortunately, but trust and believe, I'm not trying to ever get rid of this bass. This is my baby right here. So that brings us to the main board, right? And the main board has another T-tone looper, three-way effects loop in it. And what that does is the same as the first one. It splits this pedal board into 4 different parts, actually. So you have 3 effects loops and then whatever's running afterwards. So, I can either choose to have no loops. So like it is right now, this one isn't on and this one isn't on. It's literally going straight to the ToneX one and the MXR layers and that top row, which is in stereo. It runs to the stereo looper on the floor, back to the canvas stereo line isolator, and that to running stereo into the mixer here. So, all right, let's hear it with everything with this compressor which is on the first loop, the Empress compressor. I really didn't need to put that on the loop, but I didn't want to plug in. I wanted it to be the first pedal, and I didn't want to plug in and out of it because I love this Empress compressor. Sounds amazing. It's not cheap, and I don't feel like having to replace it. So instead of plugging in and out on a gig or, potentially pulling on it with the cable, I just rather go through a $40 looper. And these loopers are passive, so you don't have to power them. But if you don't power them, you won't get these LED lights that cut on when you activate the loops. So, Empress compressor. So here's with the Empress compressor. And the Empress compressor, you can use that by itself and use this tone plus color switch, and you get a nice scoop and a little bit of dirt added. But yeah, so just this compressor by itself, you can add a boost. The scoop was at 500. The boost is at like 2.3K. you need a little bit more to cut through. So that's the Empress compressor. I keep that tone color off, and I usually have a longer attack, shorter release, full mix with the high pass filter engaged. This way you can, I'm gonna flip back and forth real quick so you can hear the difference between the two. Well, my drop bass and the compressor, it's hard to hear with just the compressor unless you are used to, hearing what compression does. Hit that hype button and that like button for me real quick, folks. I definitely appreciate you hanging out with me. Hit that like button for me. And that hype button. I want to see what that hype button does. Anybody know what that does? It won't cost you no money, but that'll help me out a heck of a lot. Bypass. And then here it is with Empress. So as you can see, it keeps some of those louder notes in check, but still really gives you gives you a little boost in those softer notes up top, which are softer than these, this big B string, And I can have it, if I wanted to, step on it a little more, really keep it in check. Just made my bass way more even. All right. So moving on, and you got the LC5, and keep in mind this is the main gigging board. So, sorry, hitting the camera. This mainly stays home. So you got to keep that in mind when you're looking at it. I know this is first, but this includes, this is the bread and butter board here. Trust and believe. So OC5. So you can use it for, unison lines like that, or you can use it for just an octaver, synth bass style. got lots of options with. You can use it for chordal things. As you can hear, the octaver doesn't. The lower octave doesn't affect these certain notes when you have this knob, this last knob here, depending on where you have it. If I put it in now, it's affecting it. So I dial this back to where it doesn't affect it. And now it's just on the lowest note. So, you know, you get tons of options with that. Another great pedal. Then we got the Future Impact. Let's go. Best bass synth, vintage bass synth out. Like pure vintage bass synth, all the Moog sounds, all the ARP 2600 sounds. Future Impact can pull all that off and more. So I ain't even gonna go through all of them, but just know it ain't a game. Ooh, just massive sense. Future Impact is crazy. And mind you, these sounds are not going to come pre-programmed in there like that. If you want that, you got to go to my Patreon. Time for the Patreon spiel. Yes, it is. So, we have packs for the Future Impact V4 VIP, the Enzo X. We have packs for the Zoom MS-70 CDR Plus, MS-60B Plus, NB6, as well as packs for the ToneX series pedals and software. We have it all, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure, yes. Matter of fact, I do.
Testing. So now it's time for Buy My Packs.
No, I'm playing. But yeah, make sure you go grab them preset packs for the ToneX series pedals. I'll also be coming out with some new ones. That'll be the color box plus other preamps. So the color box and the Gensler Magellan, right? So I got a pack for that. Got a pack for the color box and the Gens Ben Shuttle 9, which is a 2 preamp. Then we got one for the color box and the Ampeg SGT, you know, including the B15 circuit and the SVT circuit separately, and just the analog preamps together. And then we have the color box plus the Aguilar AG preamp. And all those packs will be available on Patreon. But there's already 11 different preamp packs available on there, including all those preamps that I already named individually. And things like the Harkey TX600, the Little Mark III by Mark Bass, and, you know, little things like that. You know, the TC Electronic BH500, the original OG when they were made in Denmark and they had that sound. Yeah, all that's on there. Yeah. Yeah, no, and I carry all that around on my ToneX 1. You know what I'm saying? That's because it has 20 slots on there. So I have all my preamps that I need, you know, on there for any gig. And it sounds just like the original. You know, I would prove it to you, but I did enough videos on the ToneX 1 where I compared it to the originals and everything. You know, it's killer. And my Aguilar AG, the Ampeg, all that stuff is right back here. It ain't far. Man, you know what I'm saying? We got them. You feel me? We got them. Bam. You know what I'm saying? That's the Gensler right there. That's the Eden WT. Eden WTDI. You know, we got all the preamps in the house. No, that's available on Patreon for the ToneX pedal. So make sure you go check that out and check out if you want to hear those previous packs that aren't out yet. I mean, that are already out. You can go, if you go to my page or just search ToneX 1 bass and then put in that preamp, and I'm sure it'll come up. So, all right. Moving on from the Future Impact. See what time it is. I don't want to lose track of time. See what we got going on here. All right, cool. We're good there. We have the deep freeze. What's going on? So another versatile pedal where you actually can control the attack and the decay of that freeze. You just need to hold the button and turn the knob. Or no, I forgot how you do it, but it's a way you can, that attack knob can become a decay knob if you wanted to. You can control that, as well as, you know, you have control over the freeze and the glissando, long glissando. So yeah, the deep freeze is, I know it's a little pricey, and for a little pedal, you know, it's like $200. Probably find one used for about 100, and probably about 100, 120. But it's definitely worth it. Let me switch back over to the pedal board view here. You can see a little better. If you haven't already, hit that like button for me. It definitely helps me out. Even better, hit that hype button too. And if you're really feeling it, subscribe. I definitely appreciate all your support and you hanging out with me. And I'm gonna try to get this up to twice a day. So, if you like this type of content, this would definitely be a place where you're gonna really make a community for the bass players to play other things that's not just bass. We want to play bass. We always want to play bass, but that's our job. Now, do we want to create and play other sounds and like everybody else, the guitar player get to play different sounds, keyboard player get all 4 or 5 keyboards to play all the sounds in the world, and, but let you play something else. All of a sudden, bass players ain't supposed to play nothing but bass sounds. Not over here. Let's go. This is all bass creations. You feel me? We stepping out. We ain't in that background field. Appreciate the love y'all hit. All right. So, coming out of there, we come back into the looper, and we come out of here, go into the ToneX 1. You've already been listening to the ToneX 1, but let's go ahead and scroll through some presets. So you were already listening to the color box preset. One of those that's just the saturation. So it was a really nice. Here's without it. Here's with it. Where's the delay? Oh. Without it. So it just adds like a little bit of clarity, and that's for more like chordal things. So it does, I do have that particular preset set, so a little bit of the bass drops off. And it just adds a bit of clarity. But I also have a heavier version of that. So very nice, very big sound, you know, for nothing that's really too coloring it too much. That's how the color box is, though. It's modeled off a 1073 preamp, so it's actually capable of being a preamp for pretty much any instrument. So it's a very clean, it can be a very clean preamp. It can, you know, and very transparent. Of course, I have settings where that's dialed up and you got the gritty, nitty color box on there too. But we're not going to spend all day on the color box settings. We'll go on to the shuttle. This is, which one is this? Okay, we'll do this one. We'll do the color box into the shuttle, Jens Band Shuttle 9.0, which is a tube amp. It's actually, I don't know if y'all can see that. It's that little amp back there. I don't think y'all can see it. It's that little thing right there. Color box plus SGT. Yeah, so that's the SGT and Aguilar. Let me see what we got here. I can check it out, but I can't listen to it right now. I'll check it out when I get a chance. I'll check your song out. That is not a problem. But I can't do it right now, you know, and it's not really on the topic of the pedal board. You know what I'm saying? So I got you. I'll check it out when I get a chance, for sure. Sure, I can. Matter of fact, since people keep sending me requests, if you guys really want me to play the song that you want me to play, send me $300. I will play the song that you want me to play for sure. I will learn it. I'll do an arrangement of it and everything. Just send it to the Cash App. You send it to the Cash App or Super Chat. Put 300 in there. I will play the song you want me to play. Other than that, I can't really help you out. I don't really play for free. This is what I do for a living. So the people that want me to play the songs when they want me to play it, they got to pay me. It just is what it is. No offense. But you got to realize what you're asking people to do. Would you ask a plumber or an electrician to just come to your house and play with you and do play around with your plumbing and fix your plumbing? And no, you wouldn't ask them to do that. You got to remember that. I think sometimes y'all get on here, y'all forget that I'm a professional. You may be watching a professional. So I don't do karaoke hour, not for free. Put that 300 in there, though. I surely will make it happen. Trust and believe. Yeah, I'm not sure what they thinking today. It's not nothing personal. I think sometimes we just haven't thought about it. That's why I said it like that. I don't take it personal. I don't think like, oh, they think I'm not worth paying. No, I don't think it's that. I just think some people haven't thought about it too much, and it just is what it is. All you could do is explain it to people, and then just hope that they can understand. What's the best way to get a tube sound from a pedal to add to a solid state amp head? ToneX. That's exactly what this one is. This is actually the color box running into the James Band Shuttle, which has a tube preamp. That's why you're getting a little bit of saturation and breakup in there. Some of that breakup is from the color box, but a lot of it's from the tube, the actual tube and the preamp there. Yeah, you just get dirty. And then it can get so yeah. So if you what a good way. Well, let me see what we got here right before that. I'm gonna get right back to let me make sure. Well, I do another video about well, most of my influences aren't bass players. I ain't gonna lie to you. I listen to bass players to a certain extent, but I primarily listen to other instruments as my main inspiration. And to be honest, I wouldn't have gotten to the level I'm at just listening to bass players. Not gonna lie to you. Appreciate you. Appreciate it. Yeah, we did. Yeah, and if you need some general warmth, the cool thing about the ToneX too is you can go on the ToneNet and they'll have other pedals. Like there's a Noble on there, tone model on there. Of course, people have to do some new ones, but you could find a lot of Fender tube amps on there as well. Like I actually love one of this particular. I can't remember this Fender. It's a Fender tube amp that's on there that somebody did. It's really good, and I actually downloaded. I actually use that sometimes because I like it, and it breaks up. Like the cool thing about the ToneX, it responds in game wise exactly how the pedal or the preamp or the amp head would. So it models the gain staging of it to a certain range. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I can get a dirty tone, just a slightly breaking up tone, and just a straight up clean tone. It's a reason why. It's because their gain staging modeling, their tone models are the best. If you're wondering who got the best amp models, who has is ToneX. And what it is I think if you don't have a ToneX, you don't really even understand what it is quite. I didn't either. Like until I got my hands on it, then I started to understand a little bit more of what it is. So what it does is it can model your whole rig. So let's start here. It can model a single. What it can't do is model compression, modulations, delays, or reverbs. So all of those effects or pitch shifters or anything like that, it doesn't do that. So all of those are out the table. What it does do is it will model saturation pedals, like tube emulations, or like the preamp pedals that I showed you earlier, like the SGT, the Gensler Magellan, or your amp head. It'll model just your amp head, or it can model your amp head and a cabinet through a microphone. So say I wanted to use a SM57, I can model that Gens Benz Shuttle 9 through that Gens Benz 212 cabinet and have that sound through a SM57 running into, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much the sound that it would model. It would model all of that, including the microphone. And if you have any other things, like say I put the color box after the microphone, it will model that part of the sound as well. So it models it all the way down, you know what I'm saying, and it adds that gain staging part of it as well. So it definitely is amazing, just an amazing pedal. Yeah, so I'll throw some of my influences out there real quick. Pat Metheny, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Greg Howe. Of course, Victor Wooten has an influence on me to a certain extent. Of course, guys like Marcus Miller have what's my man name? Scott Henderson. There's Al Damola. Mojave's New Orchestra, like the whole group there. Symphony X, Transatlantic. Those are rock bands. But yeah, those are just a few people I like. Yeah, you'll love the ToneX. I think the ToneX would be your best solution. I would try that before anything else. It's the most authentic to modeling other drive and, preamp and speakers and stuff like that. I think, and it comes with 4 pieces of software. The modeling software, the pedal editor, and then it comes with another one that allows you to set up presets for your plugins. And then you have it as a plugin for Logic or whatever recording software you use. All right, so it brings us, because we got to move it on, because I got to get out of here. And I promised I would do this in one video. So now we have the MXR layers. This is a pretty simplistic, well, not, it's actually a multi-effects pedal as well. It's not just a freeze pedal. It has delay. It has delay, chorus, and then it also has tremolo. And you can blend between the two. You also have a delay pedal, and you can change how much it smears it or diffuses it. Change the attack or the decay. So yeah, that's another pedal that is really nice. Now I will say some of the newer MXR pedals seem to be getting warm. They get warm when you use them for some reason. I'm not sure why, but this is no exception. It does get warm, and so does my MXR Poly Blue as well. I'm actually going to probably get rid of a few pedals, soon. I'll be selling some of these used. Be on the lookout. But then it comes to the amazing, absolutely just amazing Enzo X, which is another multi-effects. Technically, it has. We'll play a bit, then we'll talk. And it tracks all the way down. Polyphonic. Oh, that's nasty. And reminding you guys that all these sounds, all the ToneX, I got all these different packs for all these different pedals. So if you want these sounds for the Enzo X or the Future Impact or anything these digital pedals, the Zoom multi-stomp pedals or the B6, I got all the stuff on the Patreon. Plus, you can just go over there and support. So it can get nasty with the bass sounds too. It ain't just the poly sounds. The lead sounds is crazy. The ARP sounds is crazy. Every sound in here, you know, of course, like anything else, you can make it sound like garbage. But tell me that's not amazing. Make sure y'all subscribe, man. Make sure y'all hit that, like button for me. It helps me out. Hit that hype button. I really want to see what it do for me. If y'all can hit that hype button a few times, I would greatly appreciate it. Definitely helps me out a ton. Just amazing. And this is the Enzo X by itself. That's crazy. What? Whatever synth pedal can do that. And you can play it with a keyboard. And something else about the Future Impact, just a little quick note, you can play the Future Impact with your bass and then run MIDI out to a keyboard or something else and control other things, play other MIDI capable instruments like a motif with the Future Impact tracking your bass for you. Amazing. But this pedal, and you can play it with a keyboard as well. But the Enzo X, you can only play with a keyboard, and the MIDI out just passes the MIDI through. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. Reverb, Big Crusher, all that's in there. Just bass sounds for days. The yellow box is the Enzo X. That's what we playing now. That's the Enzo X. So, you know, you got all that type of sounds, everything from that to this. Yeah, that's a hit right there. Just hit that into a looper and it's over. Matter of fact, I might have to do that real quick just so I don't lose it. That's the cool thing about music that you gotta keep in mind. You can easily lose the idea. It's not sync. I'm gonna do it without locking it. One. I like the fact that it fades out too there. You just throw some. What I like to do is save the loop, then save, go forward. I'm on the Jam Man Solo HD, and then save the loop, one loop forward. That way I don't lose the original idea. come back to that later. So I just like to go on, get stuff say there, you know what I'm saying? That way I don't lose the original idea. Go on, hit that like button for me. That's exactly how I be writing songs. That's how fast I write a song just based off an idea and then go from there. That doesn't even have to be a whole song. You know, I may use that for excuse me. I may use that for production or something later, for film scoring later. But I just go and say the idea. And because some of the simplest ideas are, you know, could be your hits, can be some of your biggest hits, you know. So I don't throw away ideas just because they're simple, you know. Just because I can play things a lot more complicated doesn't mean the simple things I come up with are now garbage. It just means I can play more when necessary. But it's not always necessary to play more. So let's keep going because I got to get out of here. All right, because I'm running a little bit behind. Running just a little bit behind here. So, all right, then you got the MS-70 CDR Plus, which you already been listening to. You know, different things. Now, I will say this is the best. This is the best pedal for the modulations, and in terms of emulations, the modulations on here are top-notch emulations of what they are. You know, the phasers are amazing. The choruses are huge. Like in sound, this is a TC Electronic Plethora X1 right next to it, which has the actual tri-chorus Corona chorus on here, and both of the Corona chorus and the tri-chorus that's on the MS-70 CDR Plus sound spot on and sound amazing. Just give you a sample of a few of the modulations, but the delays on there are crazy too, and the reverbs are amazing too. One tip for the reverbs: if you want really big reverbs, you need to run the reverb, so reverb effect, and then the air reverb effect after the original one, and then you still got 4 more slots because it gives you 6 slots of effects. And then you still got some amazing filters in there too, like the low pass filter, which is a Moog style filter, and you get octavers in there. Octavers, and you get a bit crusher, you know, ring mod, all that's in there. So it's just an amazing pedal. Especially got that stereo imaging of it correct. And that's something that's not easy to do. Go on. You know what I'm saying? So they've done a tremendous job with this pedal. stuff like this swell vibrato. Which also works great for synth as well. So as you can hear, it just adds just a little touch there. The vintage flanger, which is like the MXR flanger. D-tune. Warp phaser. So I'm not gonna go through all the effects you can do on here, but yeah, I got a video. All these pedals have individual reviews of them, so you can check out all the reviews of these pedals individually if you like. Of course, the TC Electronic at Plethora X1 could be anything in the TC Electronic catalog with the exception of drives. Beautiful shimmer. I want to come out with a pack for this one, but I can't figure out how to export the tone prints. So you can do all the modulations, reverbs, noise gate. You even have an infinite freeze. So you have a freeze pedal in there as well. So that's another multi-effects. So if you haven't noticed, my board is literally stacked with multi-effects in one way or another, just so I have so much flexibility in here. Next up is HX1, which is also a multi-effects pedal. But you've already been listening to those reverbs and stuff already, so I'm not going to make you listen back through all that stuff. And then you have the Atlas compressor, which you've already heard. You've already heard the Jam Man HD Solo, and then we're into the Canvas, and we're out. So pretty much it's simple. Just a recap in case you just joining and you want to know. Here's the whole thing broken down quickly. I'm coming into a 3-way effects loop. First loop is Hog 2 in C4 synth and then Spectrum. Second loop is Key 9, Mel 9, Rabbit Tar, V256 back into the looper. Third loop is Zoom MS-50G, the original. Then out of this three-way switcher, I come over, link it to this three-way switcher, making it a six-way effects loop. And first one is the Empress compressor. The second loop is the OC5. Third loop is the Future Impact and the Deep Freeze. Then we come back into the looper, out into the ToneX 1, into the MXR layers, over to, and all this is in mono so far, so everything was in mono up until the Enzo X. Out of the Enzo X is stereo the rest of the way to the MS-70 CDR Plus, the TC Electronic Plethora X1, the Line 6 HX1, and the Source Audio Atlas compressor into the Digitech Jamman HD Solo on the floor, coming back into the Canvas Stereo DI line isolator box, and then into the mixer. So that's my entire signal chain explained, briefly. So it's when you break it down, each one of those loops is like a mini pedal board. This is a mini pedal board. This is a mini pedal board. You know what I'm saying? This can be considered a mini pedal board. Each one can be considered. You can use them like each one's a mini pedal board. And then I still have another three-way looper. I have a third one of these in case I want to add other things. And if I wanted to patch in here, I can come out of here, go into the looper on the floor, and then go into all my analog preamps if I wanted to use those sounds for studio or whatever the case, recording. So I have even more options. I can go through my Zoom B6 as well with the other effects loop added. So all that stuff together makes my sounds, and I don't want to just have a bass guitar sound. I want to have all these different types of sounds. So when I'm creating, I can do stuff like I just did. Yeah, so that's the purpose of by different people that maybe just bass enthusiasts. Hey, why do you need all those sounds? Why does the keyboard need all those sounds? Why does the organ need all those variations of the organ tone? Why is there so many different saxophones? Why do sax players play clarinet and flute? Why do trumpet players typically be able to play trombone and tuba too, or other brass instruments? It's because you want to be able to have access to different sounds. And you need the different sounds for compositions and different things. So everything is not a bass guitar sound. Sure, if you're just playing bass, yeah, but I'm not just a bassist. I'm an artist for a living. So not only do I play bass for other people, my primary money and gig is doing solo work by myself and with my band as the band leader and artist. So you got to understand, when you want to get to that, you start incorporating different techniques. Like I can play two-hand tapping things where I'm accompanying myself and playing the solo with my right hand, accompanying with my left hand, like a pianist would. Then I have other things where I do loops. I do create loops live on stage. I recreate songs live on stage of covers, and I also do stuff like that where I create brand new originals on stage, and it just keeps it all interesting and fresh. So make sure if you haven't already, hit that hype button. I'm experimenting with that hype button today to see what it do. I want to see if it actually helped me out, and hopefully it does. If so, I would definitely appreciate you guys. Hit that like button, if nothing else, and that subscribe button, so when I'm coming live. I'm gonna be trying to do this twice a day. I'm gonna be trying to do this twice a day. Okay, so it may be different times, but I'm just experimenting for now with different times. But I know one to be earlier in the morning between 9 and 10. The other one to be sometime in the evening. Now, if you want to check out any of the reviews for these different pedals and more, I've reviewed tons of pedals that you can't see here. You can check all that out on my YouTube page. And if you want to check out any of the presets for the different pedals, the C4 synth, the Enzo X, Future Impact, Zoom MS-70 CDR Plus, Zoom MS-60B Plus, and Zoom B6, or the any of the 11 preamp packs I have available for the ToneX One. All that stuff is on the Patreon. As well as if you want to support $1 to $5 a month, you can do that on the Patreon. And I will, if you want to keep up, I'm going to come out with a bass course on improvisation. Well, it's not really a bass course. It's a course for all instruments. Improvisation course. Then I'll have an actual bass technique course, and then we'll have a music theory course. So what's going on, folks? I appreciate you chiming in. We going to head out, but I appreciate if you hit that like button for me and that hype button for me. I appreciate you. But yeah, so check out all that stuff and sign up for the Patreon and keep up to date. You can, even if you want to just keep up, sign up on the Patreon. You can sign up for free, and you'll know when I'm coming to your town performing and different things like that. So if you want to check out my music, check out allbasscreations.bandcamp.com, where I created an entire album using just my bass and effects with no MIDI. I didn't even have these synth pedals then. I had to create all the synth sounds from scratch using all the other pedals. So check that out on there, as well as some of my other singles are on the allbasscreations.bandcamp.com. And check me out on all social media at the Bass Negus, Negus. I greatly appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I'll catch y'all later.